Happy Friday, everyone. Quick video today about the Russia hacks. First thing you need to know is that Hillary didn't lose 33,000 emails. She actually lost 55,000. The only reason they said 33 was because that is one of those hokey Freemason symbols they like to use to signal the cowardly robber baronaires who run the media. You may have noticed other times where a terrorist attack had 33 victims or a trendy cause had 33 volunteers. When you see that number in news stories, oftentimes it means that was an intelligence operation. It's kind of like a little marker. That little Mickey Mouse CIA director, Johnny Brennan, is absolutely obsessed with the number 33. Because he's a dorky little Freemason who thinks it's so spooky to threaten people with numbers. And it works quite well with those clucking hens in the media, amazingly enough. But here at Q, we aren't afraid of any hooky-spooky numbers. In fact, we have a hooky-spooky number of our own. 17. That's what we use to sign our work. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that those Russia hacks are totally made up by the CIA. I know because I looked into them myself. Pedophile Podesta was hacked by what's called a spearfish, a spam email with a malicious link inside of it. Here it is right here. If you notice the date, this is 2 days before the emails cut off in the hacked archive. Because as you can see, Pedophile Podesta clicked on a fake password reset link and typed his password into a fake website. That's why he got hacked. Because like a dumb little pedophile, he straight up gave his password away. Not because of Russia. And to be honest, the sophistication level of this attack indicates that it was more likely a Russian teenager in his parents' basement than a professional Russian intelligence operation. Aside from how obviously fake this spearphishing email looks, and how Google doesn't use bit.ly short links, it also had some other ridiculously suspicious attributes. Like using Russian language malware and having a timestamp that was in Moscow and conducted during Moscow business hours. Meaning that if we are to believe the official story that our lying FBI is telling us, that would be the metaphorical equivalent of believing that Vladimir Putin rode into a bank shirtless on that show horse that he loved so much while wearing a Russia flag as a cape and robbed it at gunpoint. That's how nakedly preposterous the FBI's Russia intel assessment was. The next lie was the Clinton emails and the DNC emails, which actually weren't hacked at all. We can easily tell by looking at the data transfer rates in the metadata of the OST archive files released by WikiLeaks. I will bore you with a bunch of technical jargon, but long story short, we have indisputable evidence that those emails were downloaded onto a USB flash drive and carried out of the building by hand, not hacked. We also know from a separate WikiLeaks release that the CIA has a cyber weapon that can falsely make it look like Russia hacked someone. One they use quite a bit to cover for their own rackets, and one that they let CrowdStrike use for their fake report. We also know that those little racketeers at CrowdStrike received $100 million to blame Russia, and that the FBI never even looked into the evidence a single time. In fact, the FBI not only didn't look into the evidence a single time, they also accepted a fake report from CrowdStrike that was half redacted by Hillary's lawyers. How crazy is that? It's like, here you go, Mr. FBI agent. Here's that evidence you've been asking for. Oh wait, hold on. Let me black half of it out real quick. So preposterously corrupt that it's hard to figure out why in the world the FBI is even still allowed to exist at all. Almost as hard as it is to figure out why Ronna McDaniel, the lady that currently runs the National Republican Party, gave Hillary's goons over at CrowdStrike the contract to secure all of the Republican Party's computers for the upcoming election. Yep, I'm not joking. That sneaky little CIA Mormon let Hillary's goons straight in the front door to come snake us again. The deal she made effectively gives CrowdStrike direct access to all Republican data. Data about our strategies, our donors, our voters, and everything else. And none of the other Republican morons in Congress seem to have a problem with this. They all have full confidence in Ronna. Which is why we need to loudly demand that those Republican morons get their heads out of their asses and fire that sneaky little CIA Mormon immediately. Because if we don't get her fired ASAP, we will most certainly lose in November. The CIA will have our whole playbook, and they will aggressively use it to sabotage us. I'm being dead serious. This is not a joke. And this is not a drill. This is crunch time, and every move we make from here on out matters tremendously. So in addition to calling for the removal of Mitt Romney's niece, Rhino McDaniel, I'm also announcing the official end of all Hooky Spooky number games. You hear that, Freemasons? I did use the number 33 out of the Raytheon rulebook one last time to antagonize the clucking hens in the press, showing them that I know their game and that game is now over. So anyone still taking cues from the number 33 is not operating at the direction of the US military. From here on out, we are not going to be sneaky little snakes anymore. If we have a problem with somebody, we're just going to come out and say it. We aren't going to pretend to be nice in public and threaten people behind closed doors. Because that's super whack, and it prevents regular people from having informed opinions about things. Here at Q, we want people from all walks of life to be able to see exactly what is happening in our foreign policy and voice their opinions in an informed way. That's how democracies should work, not with all this fakeness and sneaking. So with that being said, I'd like to make a public service announcement to Queen Margrethe of Denmark. Be advised, Queen, you have two options. You can either save some face and accept our incredibly generous offer to buy Greenland, land which you have no legitimate claim to in the first place. Or we could call up some Jaysakis and they could come run up in that royal palace and Roman off you, if you catch my drift. Q loves the people of Denmark, so they have absolutely nothing to worry about. But Q will feel 0% bad if something terrible happens to Denmark's despicable imperialist queen. So we'll give her 30 days to decide. Hopefully she chooses correctly. Because if not, we will light her up and take her cookies by force. And we'll have a jolly good time doing so. Kobe!